before January the 4th was the smartest course of action to navigate the contract. Now that the contract is up, we don't want none of it. See, we went from navigating the contract. This is what Taj was teaching us for so long, how to navigate the contract, right? And if you understood what he was teaching, then you could have navigated the contract during its life. As of January the 4th, 2019, the contract ended. When the contract ended, now everybody that's trying to use the navigation process is actually making it worse for themselves because they recontracted with a dead entity.
Nobody saying nothing in the comments for any questions. So just to reflect back from the beginning, the declaration is nothing but the goodbye letter, letting us know if we step up, they just stepping out the way. And abandon the contract. Anything, Social Security, birth certificate, driver license, 1099s, W-2s, all that. Anything that links back to them, just abandon it.
Right. So the biggest entries that they using is the contract for education with the children, the contract for labor with the jobs, and the what they call judicial contracts, which is court claims. People calling the police on motherfuckers. Don't call the police on that nigga, beat his motherfucking ass.
If we live in Mexico, how can I cross my family into America without a passport?
Wait till you see the Three Kings, because we're gonna do away with that shit instantly. Because California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, all that's Mexico. That's all part of one land territory. That's part of the same territory. It wasn't until the Mexican-American War that they divided that up. And that's why Texas had to reserve the right to become an independent nation once the contract was up. So Texas can go back. It can divide up into as many as 5 nations.
Sheesh.
You know, that's going to stay in their contract. I mean, in their constitution of the state until it go back to territory. Right? The wealth of Mexico is equivalent of the wealth of the Middle East. Why are all those people starving?
Holy shit.
Just what you do. And this going to be good. This going to be a good little checkup. Check oil levels of Mexico, like oil production, mineral production, gross domestic product, gross national product. And you're going to be surprised. You're not going to understand why the people poor.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Equivalent to the Middle
Mexico is like one of the top 20 oil producing nations in the world.
I didn't know that. The only thing I knew was, for like the past 50 years, the U.S. been mining oil over here, but they can only borrow
holding it in surplus. Right. So that's because they're not allowed to trade it because it ain't theirs, it's ours. And since they can't trade it, they had to hold it in reserve, and then they can borrow against it to run the government. We ain't supposed to be paying taxes. Taxes has nothing to do with us.
Yeah, that's robbery right there. Getting taxed on everything.
Well, the IRS was a private corporation with a board of directors that don't even live in this country.
What?
So we talking about taxation without representation. Wasn't that what the Boston Tea Party that set it all off was about?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was actually the Boston Tea Party was when they claimed we crashed into their ship with our landmass and captured us under admiralty law and used the squatters' rights to insert it beyond the 10 square mile jurisdiction of the disputed territory or the crash site dispute.
So even those affidavits are set up too, because this shit popping up everywhere about the bills process. Look, and
all you have to do, like we doing now on this live, is reserve all your rights in the public domain. It's time-stamped and dated on social media. That's why we can use social media, right? Because even though you have to sign an agreement to access it, most of us accessed it before the contract expired, right? Once the contract expired, it notified all of the contracts that's contingent upon.
And that's like the things that we need to focus on, either really individually, because if we all individually are prepared, then as a community, we all have.
I want certain stuff. I want my children to want for it to the point where they feel that they can work for it and they can earn what it is that they don't have that they want. And that's going to teach them 2 lessons. Ain't nobody better than you, but you ain't better than nobody else. And if you see something that you really want, it's going to require you to perform or to do certain efforts in order to attain that. If you just want a motherfucker to pass you something because of who you is, then you in the wrong house. You better take your ass down the street. And that house of entitlement, yeah, they trading titles on that motherfucker on a regular basis.
That's a good one. You got all the good stuff.
So, yeah. So, so I don't want my children to be suffering with poverty, but I also don't want stuff so easy where they don't have no grit, where they can't bounce back from shit. These the softest motherfuckers I ever could imagine to be on earth right now in this time. When we grew up, we used to get ass whoopings and whoop ass.
But you know, it's that tablet. It's that tablet. It's that phone. It's those video games that we, you know, guilty as charged, tell them to go play on so we can have a moment instead of engaging with them. They're not outside having life experience with each other and interactions with each other. So we have to start doing that again. Like with my sons, when they come over, they get annoyed with me, but we're going to play a board game. And I know it seems real simple and like I'm not really teaching them life, but it's just even those interactions that build character and kind of build resolve and strategy. Just, you know, something simple.
Look, when you sit them down to the board game next time, explain this to them. Life got rules, and ain't nobody going to teach them to you.
See, and that's the thing that I feel like.
Hold on. These board games is a game with a set of rules that can apply somewhere else in life later on if you learn the rules to this game. You practice it so that you understand how this game works, so when you see it play out in real life, you know how to win that game in real life. So you think we playing board games, but really I'm giving you tools to go in to the world and come out successful. This is why I'm teaching you how to play Monopoly, because it's always a motherfucker gonna try to monopolize on everything you do. So you need to be able to see the game before you ever learn how to play the game in business. So we teach you to play it in a board game. Right. And the more board games that you learn as a child, the more tools you have to navigate life with through the path of least resistance, meaning not getting beat to death by life.
Right. Even like with Connect 4, like just teaching them to slow down and look at what the play is going to be, trying to have like predictive, you know, thought process or programming, in a sense, like what is this person's strategy? That alone is a tool for life.
Yeah. See, like I like to tell my son about stories about people like Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan. They saying once upon a time it was this guy named Attila, and I'll go into like leadership strategies of Attila the Hun to share with him little things that can be given to him in story format at an early age that will sink into um, his mind to the point where it'll become part of his original program.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's a natural born strategist because he already know about Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, Hannibal, Muhammad Ahmed, you know what I'm saying, Shaka Zulu. He know about the great strategists of history at an early age because dad gave them to him as little stories to tell him while we was on our drive to go fishing.
Right. And he's gonna remember all of that information too. Like, we have to get back to storytelling, like, and really also like we have to get back to listening to the elders when they speak and not really, and not ignoring them or not being like, oh, you know, I don't really rock with that elder.
Time frame to work from based off the movement of the energy. Some of them gonna be so latched on to the energy, it's gonna be like binge watching your favorite TV show. They gonna keep coming back every day doing spreads on the same energy because they'll see the changes that fast in the oracle read. A lot of times when I tell people that don't understand what I'm saying, I say refer to the oracles and ask them if my information is correct, because what you can't see with the spiritual eye, you looking physically, they can see spiritually what I'm telling you, and then they can tell you physically what it's going to mean, because they're catching the energy as it's changing in real time, and they're using the focal point of whatever their oracle style is. Some tea readers, some read runes, some read cards, some read entrails, some read nuts, some read shells, but they all got their own way of interpreting those energy signatures that's coming in from spirit. Right.
Yes, and I'm kind of running while you're speaking. I'm running about 4 different readers on the information about 4 different ones I know do reading, so you might want to reach out. But there are folks that are on YouTube that are doing daily.
Yeah. So my some of my favorite tarot readers is Blue Rose Tarot has uncanny accuracy. Also, I listen to Brittany Madison, who has an uncanny accuracy. She's actually done spreads on the because and she did some other reads too. I asked her to do a couple of other reads and she done them. Then you also, it's a sister on here who's looking at the organic side of the tribal side named Chief Janace. She's pretty intuitive and she's coming from more of an academic angle from her intuition, and she's sharing information. There's a couple more of them. I don't have them all off the top of my head like that because I'm horrible with names, as hard as I might be to. But those are just some of the ones that I listen to who has uncannily accurate information, and I can also use the information to go into more detail.
Yeah. Well.
Right. So I can listen to a tarot spread and refine the reading by adding more definitions to more parts of the cards than the reader is actually doing.
Wow. Yeah, so you got that background. You got that background. Listen, we are 2 hours and 39 minutes into this wonderful show. Not even gonna call it show, a broadcast, information broadcast update. And again, I just I'm open, honest, transparent. Planned another show for this evening, and then we had to postpone it for another time. And at short notice, reached out to you, Brother Rod, who, as you said, you had just finished completed an assignment that Big Mama had sent you on, and we were like, "This is perfect." I I think you were thinking about update, and I called you about update. But then I was led to ask you, let's talk about you. You know what I mean? Let's talk about what you
Yeah,
know.
because a lot of people don't know the struggles that go with doing this work.
Right.
Like I'm doing fast sometimes 30, 40 days, 50 days in a row.
Fast? Did you say fast?
I'm fasting.
Fasting. Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay. Yeah. So you break it up again though. See, I just can't imagine that unless that somebody, well, I do imagine that they are actually interrupting this broadcast, which has been absolutely, but you said for 30, 50 days, you're doing 50-day fast. Is that what you said?
All kind of fast. Some of them be 3 days.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah. Some of them be 3-day fast, 7-day fast here, a 20-day fast, a 30-day fast. The longest one was about 50 days. And if you go back and look at my videos, you can see how skinny I was.
I remember seeing one with your, actually, I think the picture that I used on here, you look real skinny. Your face was real thin. The picture I used for the, that you a lot slimmer, a lot more slender. Yeah.
Right. So I went, my physical condition is about 260 to 268. I had got all the way down to 180 something pounds. So I lost almost 100 pounds doing fasts alone. That don't got nothing to do with the meditations, the shadow work, facing the demons. And that's generational curse breaking. That stuff not easy. It sound easy, but most of us don't understand that we actually breaking generational curses by changing certain behavioral patterns that we picked up from our parents.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And yeah, and it's a lot of things you got to face, and then you have to all the. It's almost like Prometheus. It's almost like, well,
I always tell people.
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me, Dr. G?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a lot of work went into this. A lot of years of studying went into this. My library is ridiculous. I got like probably 20 totes packed up with books, and I'm not done packing.
Wow. And how long did you actually, how much time did you actually end up doing of that 18 to 50 year sentence?
About 16 years and 8 months.
Okay. So you did some time. So you had time to get your PhD.
A couple of them, because my favorite. Okay, so you have what you call your what you naturally drawn to is medicine. That's me. Me and my cousin Calvin were supposed to be doctors together. He went to university to become a medical doctor. I went to the underworld to become a witch doctor. We still became doctors. We just different kind of doctors.
Okay.
But I became a witch doctor to hold up our agreement that we both be doctors. This one of the things that entails is becoming a naturopathic physician by studying naturopathic medicine.
Right.
Right. Now I don't have what they call the degree paperwork. So what I have to do is find one of us on the land from where I'm from to send the people to that got the paperwork. And that's Dr. Pittman here in Pontiac from Herbalife. You can find him on my YouTube page. If you put in Herbalife, you can't miss it. That's what it is. And it's in Pontiac, so you'll know it's the right one. But I refer people to him because he got the paperwork and he know the information that I know about health and maybe even more. I'm inclined to believe that he's more versed in what he called Ayurvedic medicine, which is a naturopathic medical training. Every doctor from India goes through it with their Western medicine teachings. So if you get a doctor from India and they want to write you a prescription, always ask them what's the organic treatment for this. That's a naturopathic remedy. They'll have to give it to you because as a doctor, if you ask for an alternative to treatment that's effective and they're aware of it, they obligated under their Hippocratic oath to give you the information. So the last physician that I was attending was from India, and I used to ask him all of the information to get all of the. I used to be in there quizzing his interns and asking them medical information. And one of my favorite things to ask them is the most fascinating thing they learned about the human body. Because for me, the most fascinating things was you don't just have a heartbeat, you got a brain beat. Your brain beat like your heart. That was so amazing to me. So when I started doing my fetal studies, fetal development studies, it made sense because the same stem cells that form the heart is also pulsing, forms the brain. The central nervous system is formed in a straight line, and from that, the heart and the brain both come from different parts of it.
Right,
And
the spine being the governing vessel where it
yeah,
starts to form on. Yeah.
and your third brain is your intestines. And if you learn to control your appetite, you can control your base desires for anything. Increases your willpower overall. That's why we train fasting so hard, because we actually are at an internal war to take control of our willpower from our ego self that the society created. It's a power struggle. W.E.B. Du Bois called it the warring soul in souls of black folks, right? And he described it as the Europeanized white self is in conflict with your organic black self, right? And
Wow.
you are in a dilemma at all times on which side, which one of these selves of yours do you take sides with? As soon as he told me that, I said, I want the organic side out the gate. I don't want the other side. They can keep it.
I know that's right. I know
I,
that's right.
right. The society created that by other people's opinions of me. That don't match my opinion to me, so I don't accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they told my mama I wasn't gonna never learn nothing. They told my mama that I was gonna be incorrigible and that I'm always gonna be slow and behind everybody else academically. But they didn't know is I was just biding my time so I could jump in another lane, burn rubber, and leave their ass in the dust. Because the same people that told my mama that when they was my age didn't know half the shit I know.
Right. So here's something else probably people did not know about you, that you had such a background in holistic and herbal medicinal formulations, and just the knowledge of what is and what isn't going on a holistic basis. But you and I have spoken before, and you have shared that with me. For me personally, I the same thing you have with the doctor that you mentioned, Dr. Botanica, who I